Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to this update on the very historical 7th day of June 2021. Well, it's a wonderful day out there in Brisbane I'm talking about. So yes, welcome to Australian Indian Radio's live update brought to you by Gentex Multimedia Live Streaming. Well, as I mentioned before, it's a beautiful day right here in Brisbane, and we're streaming directly from Brisbane to your device. Well, once again, first of all, we welcome the royal baby, Lilibet Diana. Yes, of course, all that is coming up very, very soon, and we'll look at Queensland jobs and much, much more. First of all, let's look at sports. So, Roger Federer reflects on the 4-hour victory against Dominic Koepfer. Federer, who had hardly played in the last 17 months because of his knee injury, suffered physically in the late-night victory over German Dominic Koepfer on Saturday and has decided to withdraw from the French Open. While Serena Williams knocked out in the 4th round by Elena Rybakina in French Open. The 3-time French Open champion never won more than 2 games in a row during the 77-minute match, as Rybakina won 66 of the 117 points to move to her first ever Grand Slam quarterfinal. And in racing, Max Verstappen crashed after 5 laps to go at the Azerbaijan Grand Prix. Verstappen was robbed of a probable win in the Azerbaijan Grand Prix in Baku after his rear left tire blew out. So that's the news which in the sports world of all that's been happening out there. Well, right now, the news that's taken the world at this point in time, everyone's talking about it, you probably heard about it, is the royal baby.
Exciting breaking news to share for all of you, as the Duke and Duchess of Sussex have just announced the birth of their daughter. It is the second child for Prince Harry and Meghan Markle, and the baby's name honors 2 members of the royal family. We're going to get right over to London right now. That's where NBC's Matt Bradley has all the details on this really happy story. So what do you know, Matt?
Well, Alex, it turns out that this new baby, royal baby, was born on Friday in California. The baby is healthy, born a little before noon on Friday. And the names you mentioned, this new baby will be called Lilibet, or Lily Diana Mountbatten Windsor. Excuse me, it's a mouthful. But basically, there's a nod to a lot of different families. There are a lot of different elements of the royal family. Of course, Lilibet, or Lily, was actually the nickname of Lilibet's great-grandmother, Queen Elizabeth, the current reigning queen. She was called Lilibet, or Lily, throughout her childhood. And Diana, of course, is a tribute to her grandmother, Princess Diana of Wales, and the mother of Prince Harry. So there's a lot there. Mountbatten Windsor, that's the royal family's name. That's the combination there. And of course, the naming here is always an issue when you're talking about a member of the royal family, Prince Harry, who has had a very, very difficult sort of half-divorce and a contentious relationship with London, with the royal family here. So how this new baby will impact that? Well, you know, it's really hard to see. We haven't heard a reaction yet, a formal reaction from the royal family. The announcement comes from the press representatives of the Sussexes, so it's unclear exactly how this is going to play out. Now, there had been a lot of speculation here on naming. The Daily Mail was reporting that it was thought that the baby was going to be born on the 10th, so it was born about 6 days before maybe had been sort of predicted by doctors. The 10th, the date it was supposed to be born, that was going to be the 100th birthday of Prince Philip, who, as you remember, of course, died several months ago. That's Queen Elizabeth's husband. So now it looks as though this is a situation that's going to have a reaction from the palace. We still haven't heard it yet, even though this is a couple days old. Alex?
Yeah, well, there's a lot to unpack here. And let me tell you, as the mother of 2 children, I'm just going to say she had her second child a little bit early. That's typical, just informing you, my friend, because you wouldn't know anything about that. So a few days early, that's good. And also, just for those moms out there who are very curious, you did, there you go. This baby was born at the Santa Barbara Cottage Hospital. It's a very well-renowned hospital there in Santa Barbara. I know that Meghan had originally hoped to have the baby at home through a natural childbirth there, but I think, beckoning to the wiser thoughts, you never know what can happen. And so it was wise to go to the Cottage Hospital just in case. The baby also weighed, according to something I'm just reading now, as you are reporting, 7 pounds, 11 ounces. So that is also a nice, healthy sized baby. And that means that Big Brother Archie is going to be 2 years and 1 month older than his big sister. So I'm wondering about the sibling rivalry. Is that going to be happening? I wonder if Harry will be hanging out with Archie because Meghan obviously is going to have duties with this new baby Lily. But the names are great, don't you think?
There's never any drama in the royal family, so I wouldn't expect anything from that.
Absolutely.
It's not going to be anything like that. No sibling rivalries. Nothing Shakespearean.
Very much so, but this is all super happy news, and we're glad, and we are told that mother and baby are doing well, so congratulations to all.
Well, congratulations to all, as they say, congratulations all around, and it is a wonderful news, and I hope this brings together, the royal family, as was mentioned in that report upon the library, and the little bit of the strange relationship that the couple have. But let's see what happens. Right now, as we know, a few weeks back, Gopio Queensland hosted a mental health seminar. And as we know, at the moment, there is so much talk that's happening with the pandemic and everything else that is going on around the world that, it is very important. And even our Prime Minister agrees with that.
We're in the first ever headspace that was established quite a long time ago now here in Elston Week. Mental health is always a big challenge, whether you're in a COVID pandemic or not. And Headspace has been an enormous success. And wanted to have a quick chat with the guys about how they're seeing it play out. But tell me, through Headspace now, mental health discussions amongst young people, that's not a strange discussion anymore. It's a normal, healthy discussion.
Yeah, definitely. It seems like, through Headspace, like organisations like that, we're sort of trying to bridge the gap and bring it up way more into focus and just make it something that's, normal to talk about and normal to sort of, seek help with if you need it.
As far as we can move away from, psychology and Headspace, mental health services being specialised and just being a regular part of life, just like you see your GP.
Yeah, so when you connect with Headspace, or indeed Head to Health and the services that are now coming, whether you might have a very serious mental health issue which requires clinical support, or just dealing with the everyday anxieties of life and you just finding it a bit tough, Headspace can help right across that spectrum. I think that's it's great. It's great resourcefulness for the country, is you come in here and you'll find a way through.
Absolutely.
And quite a wonderful and powerful message out there to the community is that as we take care of our physical health, our mental health is as important as well. And it cannot be stressed enough, because there's many things that go unnoticed, and that is why this awareness is just so important. And one of the reasons behind Gopio Queensland hosting that seminar. Well, right now let's go to New South Wales and let's take a look at what's been talked about, that quarantine facility.
Right thing to do as a state is to always look at new ways of doing things, and the pandemic is evolving. New policy ideas need to be on the table as we move through the next 12 months. So engagement with the Commonwealth, the National Cabinet last week, they raised the possibility of setting up these individual facilities, and that's something the government should certainly be looking at. And I think the Premier today has made it very clear that we'll be speaking to the Commonwealth Government and putting our proposal to them, and as we should. Because, as I said, the next 12 months will be very different to the last 12 months. We've been incredibly successful during this pandemic, but that doesn't mean we rest on our laurels and sit still. We need to have our thinking evolve and look at new ways of doing things, and that's exactly what the Premier's proposal sets out today. As the state that's done the heavy lifting when it comes to hotel quarantine, setting up an individual facility that may assist us over the next 12 months, and particularly probably alleviate pressure on the hotel system, that's something we should look at. The federal government has said that they will support these types of facilities in other states, and we want to work through a proposal that makes sense, that keeps our people safe. The majority of cases, we are blessed by the fact that we are an island continent on the other side of the world, that hotel quarantine has been so successful. In many parts we've eliminated the virus, and hotel quarantine has been successful in doing that because the majority of cases have come through that system. And that's kept our people safe. So we can't just look at the same way of doing things over the next 12 or 18 months. This is a way in which our thinking has evolved, and if we can work with the federal government to do that, it's not just New South Wales that benefits, but the country as well. When our state goes well, the country goes well off the back of it, and these are the types of facilities that we should be looking at to ensure they're fit for purpose and keep the virus at bay.
Of course, quite rightfully said that we are evolving and the world's evolving, and the pandemic and COVID is here to stay. So we'll need to develop policies, as was mentioned, so that in coming years we are able to counter that, and that is going to be the way of life. So let's deal with it, and policies need to be formulated to reflect that, and I think that's a good move there. Well, right now, Victoria. So will Victoria come out of that lockdown? When will it come out of that lockdown is the question that everyone's asking. But let's hear from the Victoria Health Authorities.
So we think about in terms of upstream risk and downstream risk, and I think in terms of downstream risk, we're sort of neck and neck with the virus at this stage. So of the people that we're finding, there's a small number of exposure sites, but really most of the people that we're seeing at the moment are people that are already in quarantine, and therefore there's no downstream risk from that. I think what we are somewhat concerned about are the upstream, so who, for these cases that we can't find who gave them infection, and particularly the family that returned from Jervis Bay. We are concerned about, who was it that might have given them infection, and therefore, could there be other infections related to that? I think it'd be fair to say, just given, I think 5% of Victorians have been tested in the last, the last 7 days. If there was a big outbreak going on, I think, we would expect to have picked it up, but, there's always that risk, and that risk does fall over time, but we are still concerned about that, and that's where all our efforts are going to investigating that.
So all the efforts are going towards that investigation, and which is very, very important as well. Without the investigations, correct decisions are very hard to make. Well, back to Queensland, where our Deputy Premier is announcing jobs for Queensland.
Well, today's Queensland Day. Happy Queensland Day to everybody. And we have a really great announcement for Queensland and Queenslanders. At the core of the Palaszczuk government, the most important things to us are health and jobs, and the two are linked. Our superior health response here in Queensland provides us with an incredible opportunity to attract and create jobs to our state. We can we can grow our established industries as well as create jobs in the new industries of the future. We are already ahead of the world when it comes to renewable energy, and that will provide a platform for us to attract new jobs, not just in that energy, but hopefully in the supply chains. So not just in building solar plants, but in making solar panels, in wind turbines, in batteries, in hydrogen electrolyzers. Most of the world can't even be thinking like this. We are very, very fortunate, but we didn't get here by luck. It took hard work, and I think we owe it to ourselves to honour that effort and do everything that we can to create those jobs and attract those jobs here to Queensland. And so today we're announcing a new Queensland Jobs Fund, a more than $1.8 million fund bringing together government programs and also creating a new $350 million industry partnership program that will allow government to work with businesses, to bring them here if they're not here, to help them to expand here if they are here, but most importantly to create jobs here. I've said to my department, State Development, and I know the Treasurer has said to his department, the Queensland Treasury, that we want them to be aggressive, to compete with other states and other nations, to bring jobs here to Queensland, and to make sure that we connect up everything government can do to attract those jobs. So it's not just dollars, it's not just investment, but it is also land and planning powers and approvals and making sure we have the skilled workforce that we need. Today we're also announcing the first investment from this fund, that we will provide $20 million to TRI in order to build TMI. You know, Labor governments are very proud of the investments that we made into research and development, previous Labor governments, and since then we've continued to build on this work, and this new investment takes it to the next level. So we can now, thanks to that work in research, we can now, our researchers are inventing new products, new treatments, new vaccines through the Translational Research Institute, and with the Translational Manufacturing Institute, we can make sure that they don't just invent those innovations here, that they can manufacture them too and push them through clinical trials. Innovations like new vaccines, and we've just been at Vaxis, a fantastic new vaccine delivery platform, and this investment will make sure we keep Vaxis here, but also that we get the next Vaxis here and that they are able to stay here and manufacture here. We can't wait for the Commonwealth Government to deliver that sovereign manufacturing capability. We need to invest in it ourselves, and that's precisely what we're doing with this announcement today.
Well, thanks, Deputy Premier, and good morning to everyone here today at the TRI and also everyone watching online. The budget I'll deliver in 9 days' time will deliver for Queensland. It'll deliver the services Queenslanders need. It'll deliver the infrastructure Queenslanders deserve, and it'll deliver the jobs that Queenslanders want. And as part of that path out of COVID, we're making an announcement today, a $1.8 billion jobs investment announcement, including a new $350 million fund, which is all designed about turbocharging our economic recovery and turbocharging our path out of COVID-19. If there's one thing COVID has taught us, it's taught us this. We need to make more things in Queensland by Queenslanders for Queenslanders. And of course that includes things in the medical and biomedical space, whether it be medical devices, whether it be medical equipment, whether it be personal protective equipment, whether it be vaccines made in our state for Queenslanders, for Australia and for the world. Now, about 5 years ago, I raised with the federal government, I was then Health Minister, the need for our state to review and consider what we needed to do to protect our sovereign capacity to produce vaccines in our state and in our nation. And
that was a very good move. And of course, with that announcement, the two announcements, the big announcement, one for the TRI and the other announcement by the Treasurer there for about $1.8 billion investment. That is great news for Queensland, because Queensland does need this job. But of course, we always need to be careful of the borrowing and the repayment capacities as well. Well, as was mentioned by the Deputy Premier that it was Queensland Day. So what did you do on your Queensland Day? Well, for me, I did something very Queenslander. Well, helped someone move, sift and unpack, which was very, very necessary, and like we too. So what did you do on Queensland Day? Well, the functions and events jumped the queue and came in before the Queensland Day celebration. So, as the question was, what did you do on Queensland Day?
Queensland to me means home. It's where I was born, it's where I was raised, grew up, and while I've had an opportunity to travel previously and see other parts of the world, there's nowhere like home and there's nowhere like Queensland.
Queensland means everything to me. It was the state I was born in, the city of Townsville, moved to Brisbane. I'm very patriotic. I love wearing the maroon and I love cheering for our State of Origin team.
I've been lucky enough to tour a lot of this big, beautiful state, and I live myself in regional Queensland on Gubbi Gubbi country, and I think we have a very unique sense of community. More than anything, I think we are unique storytellers, and we have a unique point of view that I'm really proud to be a part of as an artist.
Queensland to me means, I guess, a bit of resilience. Queensland's a very resilient state. Like, we can deal with anything that's thrown at us. We seem pretty tough.
I think the relaxed atmosphere that Queenslanders have, being very tolerant people, and we got on well with each and every one. So Queensland's just a great place for human beings to exist.
Queenslanders support Queenslanders and support Australia in general. We always look after our state and look after each other.
I love to live in Queensland. I am a skip and a jump away from the most incredible places. Rivers, oceans, including the humpback whales and the rainforest.
My favourite sort of Queensland locale would almost certainly be Nobby's Beach here. It's where we come regularly as a family. It's where I come as a much younger man to go surfing or swimming in between the flags.
As far as Queensland produce, I don't think you can go past a Queensland Bowen mango. They are the sweetest, tastiest mangoes ever. Who doesn't love summer in Queensland when our mangoes come out?
I'm very proud of our sporting teams in Queensland as well, the Queensland Maroons and the Broncos and the Queensland Firebirds as well. Being able to play for a team that the whole state just embraces, I think, is really special.
My favourite Queensland story is something that's just deeply personal to me. I had a spinal cord injury and I developed quadriplegia as a result. And I never lost a dream of becoming a doctor, but it was a big challenge. So a lot of people came together to help me achieve that dream, and it was teachers and it was nurses and it was people on the tram that made sure I got off safely. All different members of the community came together to help me through this journey, and we achieved something I think really special together.
My first memory of Queensland was coming to the Gold Coast with my mum and dad who'd come out from the UK, and coming out of Coolangatta Airport, driving across Telebudgera Creek and seeing the water there, which you do not get in the UK at all. For me, that was just the best thing I'd ever seen.
Well, my Queensland role models, there's quite a few. There's many that gave me that pathway for my career in listening to them, and mentoring by some of them mentored me, advising me and setting my path straight.
My favourite Queensland history moment was going to Expo 88. That was one of the first times that I'd been to Queensland. It was just a great experience to see the world come together in the one place in Brisbane.
The last 30 seconds in a State of Origin match where Maddie Bowen took the intercept try and scored, that encapsulates to me that Queensland never say die spirit, and having moved up here, that's what I've just fully embraced and it's really instilled in me. All Queenslanders had their own unique story to tell. Share your Queensland story today.
And yes, that was yesterday, the Queensland Day, and as I mentioned, everyone did whatever they had to do. And it was wonderful, to spend some quality time with some very, very important people. Well, right now, let's move on and get some message from our sponsors.
GlobeNet Realty. GlobeNet Realty has been the longest established, trusted and respected agency in its trade area. Washa Chandra, Director of GlobeNet Realty, provides honest and ethical service to her customers. If you are thinking of investing in Brisbane real estate market, or if you are seeking professional property management, then you should contact Usha Chandra today on landline 3865 4466 or mobile 0419 77 5 416. And for further updates, log on to our website www.globenetrealty.com.au. GlobeNet Realty is your own local real estate agency. Situated at Shop 52281 Sandgate Road, Boondall. GlobeNet Realty. Real estate is our world.
And as we mentioned that real estate is the world, and don't forget that every Wednesday we bring to you real estate updates with Usha Chandra right here on this channel, and that on every Thursday we have the travel updates with Tanvi Goyal. Of course, all these things that take place throughout the week. There's so much that's happening right here on this channel. Well, right now, we will try and see if we can connect with Void, which is one of the productions that took place in the weekend. And of course, it was a wonderful event put together by Aarti Bajaj, the artistic director of that production. And as you can see, that it was wonderful production, and that's Pawan there with us as well. And it was very, very good to see so many people come out and support this local production. And I'd say that it was one of one of the most powerful plays and events that I've seen. Very, very emotional, I must say, and very close to reality of what happens in life. And of course, it was wonderful to see that so many people came out on all 3 nights, from the opening night till the closing night, that so many people came and supported Aarti Bajaj, the artistic director of the Wild Trimmer Productions, and the whole team did a wonderful job, and it was just presented in a very, very, very nice manner, as I mentioned. So it is wonderful to see that our local talent is taking up challenges like this and doing things in such a wonderful way. As we know that this show, which was presented, as you can see there, the young girl there did a wonderful ballet, and the actors there, they just did something amazing. Now, as many comments that have come, as I said in silence and listened to the buzz of the audience around me during the interval and at Ketten Down, I was happy to acknowledge that Wild Trimmer had done something that I wanted to achieve in my own source. That is to bring about conversations in regard to topics that most people wish to avoid. And that is a very, very important point. Same as the mental health seminar which we did. There are many topics that people like to keep away. Of course, there are certain distracting moments where, and of course, very emotional moments, but that's the truth. That is the truth, and you cannot run away from the truth. And it needs to be there. So well done, Aarti. Congratulations on being bold enough to put such a show together. Well, ladies and gentlemen, that's about all we have time for in today's episode. And until next time, it's goodbye from us. And with that, we'll leave you with the functions and events taking place in the weekend.